Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then, my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's tax season, and we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it. Guaranteed. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Hi, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of See You Next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday, see you next Tuesday, see you next Tuesday. Welcome back. Welcome.
Megan,
What
is See You Next Tuesday?
Oh, See You Next Tuesday is where we give you the results of last week's episode of But Am I Wrong? It's a grand old fun time. And we also will read the messages you've sent, why you voted the way you did. And that's it. Sarah.
If you don't listen to But Am I Wrong, you might be confused. But
You might like being confused.
yeah, and also like we are entertaining, so you're still going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention this on Fisting Friday. I had also another strange encounter that happened to me on Saturday. So I went outside. I have one of those water machines that have the giant water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that have the giant water
Jugs
in it. So I went outside to get a new jug, and there was a woman inside my gate, not on the outside, inside my gate, which
front side or back side?
Front side, which my gate is not. If you look at it, it's simple to really open, but people get confused about how to open it.
I think about that all the time. People get so they get so slipped up by gates,
yes.
that I'm like, okay, but she got it easy.
She was in, and I know how I had closed it because this was after I had gone grocery shopping, and I had put down my grocery bags because my hands were full to manually close it. She was inside my gate, just casually lounging across the gate, having a full-on conversation on her phone. And I said, "Can I help you?" And she just shook her head and then walked out. And then I took my water, and I know she lives because I've seen her before, but I'm just like,
that's even weirder.
What are you doing? And then I had to, take it inside, and then I brought the old one back outside. And then I came back out, and she was sprawled against another one of my neighbors, the front hood of his work truck. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
We're giving very music video.
Maybe go sit on the curb.
Yeah.
Something. Don't be on other people's things.
Get off. Also, I don't know how well cleaned a work truck is, nor your like these are not things that are these things are not comfortable or regularly cleaned. And also, you know, there are some parts of your street that have a lot of shade, but other ones are getting sun. So you're either getting a very cold hood of the car or a very hot hood of the car. Like,
it was nighttime. Like,
no, girl.
It was dark outside. No. I truly don't understand what was happening.
That's giving very main character in a movie.
Yes.
Like, and it's like, hello.
Your other phone conversation was not that good.
No. And like, it's also giving me like maybe it was an affair conversation. She couldn't let anyone else hear. And I go, except for everybody else outside, just not the person who's also inside your home.
Right.
That's so weird.
So weird.
I hate people who do that. I saw someone like people at our last place. Sometimes, I'd see our neighbor do it, or like other people. Oh, I see our neighbors. Oh, it's the cat. Never mind. I thought it was the dog in the window. I got so excited. Like sitting on the front steps of, it was not from our gate from our last place, but like the steps before the gate. And I would just be like, hello? Like, what do you, just keep moving. Like they're like, this is just, I don't know what, there's nothing entertaining here for you. Like this, it's just like it's a quiet little street. Mm-hmm. So should we read the results for episode 136?
We should, Megan.
And I am up first. Megan says, for the first time, that we shouldn't switch races in every movie or TV show.
I was debating on how to word this so you didn't come off racist. Well, I know you changed it too when you did it for this, but
yeah. There was a word you added in here that when I read it back, I was like, wait, I don't know. If this one,
when I do it here, it's the notes. It's not actually what I do for the episode description.
Well, that's what I was saying before. I was like, so I can either like when I was like presenting the topic, I'm like, either I can rage bait, and you were like rage bait, and I was like, I don't know that I want to rage bait with this.
It's because you were going to explain yourself, but when it's just one sentence.
Well, I also had to include the photos.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I need you to know. Specifically, like, and hey, if you want to be one of those people who's like, let's take race out of it and you want to just talk about attractiveness, sure, we can do that part. Because that part also makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
That part's just not nearly as nefarious as the race part.
Is he British?
Okay, that's surprisingly a good question, because they were adamant in all of the movies that everybody is, I think besides like maybe one person, like everybody's fucking British. Like you had to be British. They would see unknowns because you just have to be British. But I do think someone they cast for someone, like there's already a couple Americans cast, but I'm assuming he's British.
He looks British.
He does look British. That's why I'm saying he is. So yeah, 4% said I was wrong. 96% said I was not wrong. Switching to a black actor for Snape feels like an excuse to be racist under the pretense of inclusion. I always hated that character with a passion, and to this day, do not understand the people who say he redeemed himself in the end. Like, no. After all, he was a dick that abused students. The end. Yeah, it does feel like it's a hard time to not feel like it is intentional. Someone else said, there's no part of me that believes everyone missed this. At this point, things like this are intentional, and it's literally so frustrating. Yep, that's it, because everyone agrees. And I've seen like a lot of people online about this, and like, yeah. And it's just like, it also just makes me feel so fucking bad for this act. Do you know what I mean? Because like, I don't want him to not have a job. And like,
but you also want his mental health to be okay.
Yeah. And like, that's the part that it's like, you know, I don't trust the production at all, because also like you're gonna have these people, it's gonna be racist, and then because it's not written in the story, there is no resolution from that, or like teaching moment for the audience, let alone the children who are participating in this. Yeah.
Mine is Melissa believes more men should get ChatGPT or AI girlfriends. 24% said I was wrong. 76% said I was not wrong. About right. I thought it was going to be higher.
What was the article you read again?
It was actually to interviews that were on MSNBC's TikTok. I'm sure it was on their actual TV or something, but
yeah, I think, because I want to say, I think I pulled a picture from one of the ones that was talking about that specifically.
Someone said, I worry this would make men even more weird towards real living women. They would be delusional to think their AI girl was real and then try to break up with AI and find a human girl and be more aggressive viewing women like a possession. To me, I would think that they would just be so into the AI girl that they wouldn't bother actual women.
I do think maybe we should pair it with house arrest.
Yeah. Like when I was envisioning this in my head, I wasn't thinking about them like leaving home unless they were going on a walk with their AI girlfriend.
Yeah. I think like we just add on the stipulation that, you know, maybe us saying that all men should start in jail and work their way out was too extreme. Maybe they just need to start on house arrest.
Mm-hmm. And then someone else said, only voted no because I just wish some men had better friendship circles that would be where they could talk about those different interests. LOL. Also, love Lars and the real girl. No, I don't want them talking to other men.
I know. I don't trust a group of men. But you know what a group of men together is called? A murder. They're called a murder of men.
It literally is.
No fucking thank you.
I don't want them to have real people in their lives.
What do men do in groups? Clan meetings. No. Right. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Men need to be farther from other men.
Yes. And then someone else said, Melissa's not wrong. Why do I feel like these types of men have a penchant for having women at home and a couple of mistresses means these men will still be out here in these streets? Let's hope they get preoccupied with multiple AI women. Throw in a whole automated house. Anything to keep these men off these streets, off these apps, and away from microphones. Yes. Exactly.
Like, put them on house arrest. And I also do think we as women deserve a monthly cut from the revenue from these AI.
Yeah. Someone else said, I voted Melissa is wrong. I definitely think men should get more hobbies and stay out of public, but I hate how harmful AI is to the environment. So I want to mitigate that impact when possible.
That's fair.
Agree. Yeah, it's fair.
But
fair also, like, if it's like rich men, then they're not getting on their jets and flying. So it might cancel each other out.
Yeah, and I do think these men are frequently using AI to, like, you know, get pictures of like the Scarlet Witch like sucking their dick. And so I do think that it is kind of a net neutral AI carbon footprint because I think they're already participating.
Yeah, so they're not driving cars, they're not traveling, they're not being passport bros. Like,
yeah, they can give up their Teslas.
Yeah. Someone else said, have you watched Companion or the Oscar short winner? It follows his thread nicely. No, never heard of it, but I'm a writer. I've made my own story in my head. Maybe I'll check it out. Someone else
if you watch that before Paradise, I will.
They're short, so it's like 15 minutes.
No, there's always going to be something. There'll always be something.
Another person said, honestly, whatever keeps them off the streets is fine by me. Great. Another person said, please, because my girlies need a break. And that's it.
Oh, I wonder if one of the movies that she recommended was the Jack Quaid movie. Because that's what I've been thinking about.
Don't know what it is.
I think that if I have to assume that's what you're referencing. Companion, yes. But that looks good. I'm not going to see it because I'm scared, and also, it's not for me. It's for men. Like, and by it's for men, I just mean they need to learn that lesson. But it's got like a hot robot girlfriend who then decides to, I think, kill him. Which is, I think, the final form.
Right.
Yeah, like
so. The circle of life.
It's a means to an end, everybody. Don't worry. They're going to fulfill their duties.
Thank you.
Exactly. Love it.
There are many ways to entice a potential new customer with flashy branding and calculated marketing strategies. But at the end of the day, the success of a business comes down to the ability to close the sale. And for businesses like Thrive Cosmetics, Allbirds, or Skims, it's what goes on behind the scenes, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple that makes the difference. For them and for millions of businesses, that difference is made with Shopify. Businesses that want to grow, grow with Shopify. Because if your goal is growth, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And Shopify will make sure you're ready. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And with Shop Pay, they boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. It's no wonder Shopify is home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/realm.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
How does weather work? What's the secret to having a great conversation? How do most wealthy people get that way? These are just a few of the topics we've recently covered on my podcast, Something You Should Know. Each episode covers multiple topics that are likely relevant to you. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and listen, we've got over 1,000 episodes, over 4,000 mostly 5-star reviews. I invite you to check out Something You Should Know, wherever you listen.
Next up, we've got writer number 1. Would they be wrong for calling out their sister-in-law for lying about having to go to work? 72% said the writer's wrong, and 28% said the writer is not wrong. I'm a little surprised at that 28%. That's a little shocking to me. Someone said working in healthcare is exhausting. The writer needs to learn some boundaries. It's a good point. Checking someone's location when you're not actively meeting up or seeing if they're free for a call is scary behavior and why I don't share my location with so many people. I do think there's other times when you can check the location, you know? Like, have they left the house? Like, you know, haven't heard from them in a while. Like, but besides that, the only times I've actively looked at locations, I did pull a creepy one with one of my friends because they posted on their story with someone who I was like, they're not in the city that you're in. And where did they come visit or are you there? And then I looked at their location and then I Google searched the homeowner records to figure out who owned the home. And then I texted them being like, you good? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, I could tell. Just check in.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that was a wellness check. So.
Yeah. And they would do it for me. That's an agreed upon kind of relationship. Another one said, people hurt their own feelings when they check on the location app. That is my hot take. It's a good point. Sometimes you just got to let people save face. There's a million reasons why the sister-in-law might have done this, but at the end of the day, it's a white lie to save face or spare the writer's feelings. You got to pick your battles and let this one go. The way I gasped when you read this one, why was she checking the location? I get the instinct to check on people. We all have stalked people on Instagram before, but we don't tell them. She might as well just have been tired. She might have genuinely have thought that they would call her in. My dad is a doctor, and I remember the nights that he was on standby. He could be called in at any minute, but he also could not. That's the whole concept. No, the writer should not call this sister-in-law out to inspire more trust in the future. She will get the exact opposite results. Well said. As someone who would definitely need to say no to things sometimes, this is so triggering. I would probably remove the person from my Find My Friends because this is too big brother vibes. Mm-hmm. I had an ex-friend that would hurt her own feelings by checking our friends' locations and seeing they were out and didn't invite her. Yeah, that's tough. I think once you start looking, it's because there's a reason.
Yep.
Echoing Melissa's thoughts of being pissed because at the end of the day, no one has to agree to plans and shouldn't have to give a dissertation as to why they couldn't come / didn't want to come to plans to the point that someone's checking their location. I'm a still recovering people pleaser, and this would make me so paranoid to have someone like this around. So I hope the writer does some reflecting because checking her location should have never happened. While I understand the frustration with feeling like someone isn't telling you the full truth, there's always a reason for that. And TBH, if the writer has had a conversation with her sister-in-law, she might end up hearing something that she doesn't want to hear and that her feelings are going to get hurt. It's so much easier just to take her excuse and move on. I wholeheartedly believe that. Like, especially when I am coming up with an excuse to someone and they're like, I just want to know the real reason. I go, but I still care about you and I love you. So I crafted this excuse to not hurt your feelings because I know the truth would hurt your feelings. And usually it's because you're going to read too much into it. And and it's not, if I had a problem, I tell you I had a problem. And if you don't think the person that you are close with would tell you they had a problem, that in itself is indicative of the relationship. So like,
right.
It's no big deal. And then finally, we have this next person. This was mine. And I just want to say thank you for humbling me. I needed it. Love y'all. Love you. I'm so glad.
I missed it.
Yeah. It was the first one I saw. And I just want to say that thank you for taking this like so well. And I hope that these responses and you hear that like it's a very valid, rational feeling with a very not good like not the follow through is not like it is a totally like legitimate and valid feeling to have the action, not so much.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's a learning moment. And I'm so glad it was a learning moment for you.
And I think also hearing everybody else's could help.
Yeah. Especially like people, if you like view it in the sense of people being like a people pleaser, like we all, I think lots of people deal with that at like some point in their life, but like I'm not a people pleaser. And so
I was like in college.
I had a small window.
Yeah, that was mine too. It was a small window in my senior year because I was in a lot of leadership positions and people depended on me. And then I had a crashing point in my senior year. And then that's when I first started going to therapy. And I learned that can't please everybody. And from there, now I have the attitude of whatever. And it pisses some people off. But I'm like, me being like your people pleaser versus my own mental health. Let's weigh these out here, please.
Yeah. And everyone gets there at some point. I had a similar like blip of it. And it was like when I had dropped out of college and was working. And so I just had to essentially like justify why I dropped out of college. Like I had to be
so you were saying yes to a lot of things that you didn't want to say yes to.
And I had to I had to like prove it to myself and to people that it was like, you know, I can do this. And I'm like, because like when you drop out of college and start working, like you skip the being able to be young and dumb excuse. Like you can't like, so like you have to be a grown up, you have to be mature, you have to do all of that stuff. And so I was like that. And then the girls' night in tour was going to have it. And I said, I'm not going. And like, I remember I was like, you can't make like, and they're like, you have to go, you sign a contract. I was like, I am not going. Like, how are you going to make me go? And I remember saying this to these people. And I was like, are you going to drag me on stage? And this is before Mats and I were dating. And Mats is like on the call.
But secretly dating?
No, we weren't secret. This is what we just had questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, you get me questioning me on timeline. And I was like, are you going to come on the tour with me and drag me on stage? And I remember these people were so shocked. And I was like, oh, they've only known this small window of my life where I am being a people pleaser. And like, it just like, I was like, fuck that. If this is what people pleasing gets me is on being forced to be on the girls' night, like I'm not going. And I was like, I am more stubborn than I am a fucking people pleaser.
This was also right before we were going to start this podcast because we were going to have to pause the podcast if you did this. And I remember seeing you at VidCon.
And I said, don't worry about it.
Talking about that. And people were like, no, Megan is going. And you're like, I'm not.
And I said,
because they were also doing an event there that was like outdoors. It wasn't even really part of the thing. And you're like, I'm not going to that. And and this is when I started to see you for you.
Yeah. Everybody's like, she'll do it. And you're like, I'm looking at her and I'm not thinking she's going to do it.
And I said, that's my girl.
Exactly.
And then
I said, don't worry about what they're saying. Oh, schedule's on track.
8 years later, it's been almost 8 years. Yeah. And now here we are.
Yeah, I got my personality back in that moment.
Besties, and we see each other.
Yeah, it was like, I know that look in her eye. That is someone who's finally done saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Because she hit that burning out point, and I said, "I'm so sorry. This is where saying yes got me. To you bitches making me. I'm not doing it. Not happening. Not happening." That was so fucking crazy.
All right, and then the next one, writer number 2. Are they wrong for spilling? This one still makes me giggle so much. I couldn't get through this one. I think I cut it down, but like in the edit, it was so crazy. Are they wrong for spilling the CrossFit cheating tea to their sister? 9% said the writer is wrong. 91% said the writer is not wrong.
Do you like that I literally did a fan request when you said you texted me?
I said thank you.
No, I know, but people don't know. Melissa literally texted me saying, "Can you make one with the girls?"
Yes.
And so I did it. And I literally downloaded the Powerpuff Girls font.
Yes, it's perfect. Next one, all of them together.
Okay.
This is over. This bit is over. Okay. Someone said if she knew her sister was a crash out, then yes, she was wrong. I don't feel like the sister really crashed out. She was just gossiping. She was continuing the gossip.
Yeah.
Another person said the right move to get her and her boyfriend to the next level. Take them beyond the environment they met in and remove him from circles where cheating is common. Everyone but the cheaters win.
I love
Praise
that way
hands, you think. Shrugs, laughing.
Yeah, I like that plan.
Yeah. And then another person said, sister should be safe to tell anything to. Sister is in the wrong here. I agree with Meghan and Melisa. CrossFit did its job, and now you can retire with Donatello and exile yourself from the drama. Yeah.
I have to we have to say to this writer, this has been by far the most positive response to any sort of fake names. People loved these ones.
I did. I truly did. Yeah. Especially because each one of these characters have a distinct personality. So it let me get to know them.
I could do it for the Powerpuff Girls, not for the...
I don't know a lot about the Powerpuff Girls, but I do know that
Blossom's got her fucking hat on.
Yeah, like I know that they each have very distinct personalities as well, so it worked for me.
Yeah.
The fact that I pulled out the names shocked me. I don't know. That's how
the
much
rest
in the
of the
zeitgeist.
turtles?
No, I know. The Ninja Turtles were my shit since I was like 3 years old. But the Powerpuff Girls, never seen one episode, so I don't know anything about them. But the fact that I pulled out "You Must Be Buttercup" shocked me.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. The one I always forget is which one? Blossom or Buttercup? No, I remember Bubbles because that's the first one I auditioned for.
Another person said they have to know their sister likes to talk, so writer is wrong because they should have known their sister would blab. However, the husband was saved from Bubbles and she should just leave the gym. So in the end, it all works out. Right. That's why I don't think that the writer is wrong, because things work out. You just need to move gyms.
Yeah, but I also don't think this sister's wrong.
No, I feel like the sister didn't like this broad to begin with, and then also the other people were in the wrong. So
I think when you tell someone who actively really dislikes someone, like essentially gossip about someone, and then I can't believe they tell anyone. I go, what do you mean? Like, I think they did say in the original write-in that they didn't know that their sister had that much dislike for them. I guess that's true. I'm also I'm very selective about who I tell what to.
Yeah. Even with, I have two sisters. Some things I don't tell both of them. Here's the thing, though. In our sister circle, I know that it'll eventually get to the other. So, like,
yeah,
you gotta pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be like, hey, don't tell her that I know this, or don't tell her that I told you. But we all know
eventually
that we're all going to be on the same page at some point. And someone might be mad, but it'll be for 2 seconds.
Temporary.
And we move on. Because this shit is funny.
Exactly. That's why Mott's gets everything on a delayed schedule. Because I'm like, I know he's going to blab. Because he loves to gossip. So I'll just wait until the dust is settled to tell him. Mm-hmm. And then I know in 2 business days. It's already been spread. Biggest fucking gossip I know. Our neighbors will be like, wait, I heard about this. And I go, when did you even see him?
He has such a specific face.
Oh my God,
when
Melissa.
he is eating up that gossip.
He has so many
It's so
follow-up
funny.
questions, and he's like, oh my God, wait, like, and he wants more, and then he'll just bring it up, and I go, I don't know, like, I am the pigeon between these, like, he is addicted to that. So like, he and one of our other, they love gossiping about our other neighbor. Like, he's just obsessed. He loves gossip. Boys love gossip.
They do. My dad, biggest gossiper I know.
Yeah.
We were in a family group chat, and my mom had just said, like, made it. She's traveling for work, and she's like, made it to whatever. And then he's like, did you hear about? And everybody's like, who the fuck even is this?
No, dads love to gossip about people you've quite literally never heard, and then they refer to them as your uncle, or like, he's like, our family. And I go, who?
Right.
And we're not blood related whatsoever. And he's like, yeah. So he was like my brother. And I'm like, who?
Then why don't I know who he is?
Who? Like, this is literally it's also, old men love to gossip about people dying too.
That's actually what it was about.
Yep. Sorry. They're addicted to being like, guess who's no longer with us? But they always say it in a way that I'm like, I kind of low-key feel like the way you said that was disrespectful, and I don't even know them. Insane.
Okay. Another person said, this was the funniest thing ever. I lost it when Meghan said, oh, we're switching universes. I think the writer's sister is wrong. She should not let the writer take all the heat for something she did.
That's also big sister energy, though. Not like the big sister, but like it is just sister energy to be like, well.
Yes. Another person said the names the writer used alone made this story so entertaining, although I didn't want to visualize it in my head. But yes, the writer is not wrong, and I need to know why the writer's sister hates bubbles.
Yeah, me too.
Probably just a vibe. We don't question vibes around here.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to know.
Yeah. This person said, just here to say that the name choice made me laugh so much, and it also helped me remember the details.
Love it.
And then someone else said, I like that the writer is Buttercup in this scenario because I would have done the same thing. I said they were Buttercup. They might not have been thinking of themselves as Buttercup.
I think they had to be.
But they put themselves in the situation,
unless
and that's what was deducted.
Yeah, unless they view themselves as Mojo Jojo.
Who also is their brother. Because he was created in the lab, too.
Yeah, I only read the pilot.
I have just seen clips on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was one clip. The clip that I saw was talking about how he would technically be their brother because they were all made in the same lab.
Oh, like Frankenstein?
I guess.
I also don't know that lore either.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. But it's Frankenstein's monster because
that's what I was going to say.
The actual...
Isn't Austin Butler in that, or is that the new? Is that going to be Jacob Elordi? Some like unnaturally tall man is playing. They're doing a movie.
No, I was like, I don't know. The last time I knew that there was a Frankenstein movie was like in black and white. I'm not.
I think it has to be Jacob Elordi. I think I just said Austin Butler.
Like him.
Austin Butler has a really square face.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Frankenstein. It's like a movie with it's a big director. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro. It's Jacob Elordi. Ooh, Oscar Isaac's in it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Somebody posted on TikTok this wall at the Smithsonian and was like, why is Oscar Isaac's photo on this display of unknowns? And I was like, I literally see Jennifer Hudson and Sojourner Truth. I do not think this is a display of unknowns. Do you not know
the exhibit?
History? Exactly.
Like, I don't think the Smithsonian just has like nobody.
It might.
Welcome to our exhibit of nobodies.
There are like these are like unknown, like just photographs. Like of
like unseen photos,
or just like photos of like people taking of like events that happen and stuff. But like.
I don't think the exhibit is called Randoms.
Right. Literally everyone.
Bitches you've never seen.
Uh-huh.
Because what if one of those is your neighbor? It's just like, right. I've seen that person.
Uh-huh.
No, that's weird. We just got to the part in Captain America where he's like going through his like Smithsonian thing, like where he's like walking through his own exhibit, and I was like, damn, of all of the things, that would make me feel the most fucking old. Like, I know he's like 100, but like I actually would be like, can you guys like hold off? Like that like make like that's I'd really start to feel I think in that movie he's at 90, but I was like, I'd really start to feel 90. Like I'm like, this is like, not right now. Please don't do this right now.
I'm Amy Nicholson, the film critic for the LA Times.
And I'm Paul Scheer, an actor, writer, and director. You might know me from The League, Veep, or my non-eligible for Academy Award role in Twisters.
We come together to host Unspooled, a podcast where we talk about good movies, critical hits,
fan favorites, must-sees, and in case you missed them.
We're talking Parasite to Home Alone.
From Grease to The Dark Knight.
So if you love movies like we do, come along on our cinematic adventure.
Listen to Unspooled wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to hit the follow button.
What's up, fellow TV watchers? It's Brian from The Core Podcast, where we cover all things Apple TV+. We are wrapping up our recaps of Emmy favorite Severance, but 2025 on Apple TV Plus is just getting started. In April and May, The Core is recapping Seth Rogen's new Hollywood satire, The Studio, and Jon Hamm's dark comedy, Your Friends and Neighbors. We'll also be recapping the first 2 seasons of Apple's sci-fi thriller, Foundation, heading into the 3rd season of that later this year. Search for The Core, all things Apple TV Plus, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Hello, I am Kristen Russo.
And I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
We are the hosts of Buffering the Vampire Slayer once more with spoilers, a rewatch podcast covering all 144 episodes of, you guessed it, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
We are here to humbly invite you to join us for our 5th Buffy prom, which, if you can believe it, we are hosting at the actual Sunnydale High School. That's right. On April 4th and 5th, we will be descending upon the campus of Torrance High School, which was the filming location for Buffy's Sunnydale High, to dance the night away to 90s music in the iconic courtyard, to sip on punch right next to the Sunnydale High fountain, and to nerd out together in our prom best inside of the set of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
All information and tickets can be found at bufferingcast.com/prom. Come join us.
And then another person said this gossip was too juicy. Writer would be wrong for not sharing. Agree. Facts. It happened in your home. I think when something happens,
good point.
Something salacious happens in your home and you can hear it going down, it is your right and duty to report back on what happened.
Yeah, you are. Otherwise, you know what that would be? The bystander effect. And we've learned, not good.
Yeah.
If you see something, say something. If you hear something, say something. To everybody.
Another person said, don't look too closely on how I voted on this one because I was way too busy laughing my ass off about the name choices in this story to actually pay attention. Sorry, but I'm nosy, so I wanted to know how people voted.
Yeah, it was so funny. 10 out of 10 for the oh, sorry, I just got weird tinnitus.
Oof, that's me every day.
Fucking time, multiple times a day. It just like stops me in the track. It's like the lightning bolt through the crotch, but in your ears, and you're like, whoa.
Unless there's a little excitement with the lightning bolt.
Dude, no, I had one that lasted like 15 minutes straight, and I was like, I think I'm gonna split apart. Like,
I think you might be pregnant by Zeus at that point.
I literally was like, something is grossly wrong. I was like, I think I'm being electric. Did I leave a hairdryer inside my pussy? Like, what happened? Like, it was so bad. It was horrible. I love birth control. Thank God.
Another person said, while to be in the minority here, I voted that the writer is wrong because you should know a person well enough to gauge how they handle the situation before you gossip with them. I'm agreeing. You were waving at me to stop.
No. I am wholeheartedly agreeing. Yeah. That's how I vote.
I feel really bad for the writer because I truly get the instinct to tell her sister, but I don't think the sister was trustworthy enough given the fact that now the writer is in this mess. Everyone is blaming her and the sister won't take any responsibility.
Well, blabbermouths are that way too. I'm just like, if you know that someone's a blabber, you also probably know that they're not like, if they're not big, like tell Cersei it was me energy, like they're not going to be like, no, I just like, You gotta know your audience.
My thing is like, why are they taking heat? Period. Because they're not the people in the wrong. They weren't the wrong doing anything wrong.
No,
everyone should be mad. But the thing is, they're not mad because everybody's fucking.
Well, that's the part that I'm just like, I don't even think you should be mad at your sister. I think you should be like, why are you freaks like not cool with exposing a cheat? Like, this says so much more about you.
Because everyone's fucking at CrossFit.
Yeah, and it's just so smelly.
That was the exact thought that I was about to say, but I was giving you space to say something. But that was what I was next was going to roll out of my mouth.
All I could think of is that one gym that I made you go to with me that one time. And I'm like, I just can't imagine
that one. I mean, it's very much set up like in warehouse style, like CrossFit is. So
it's Tabata, which is essentially what CrossFit, I think it's based on.
Also, the fact that he invited her over for stretching, like that was the guys, like,
yeah, culpability.
Yeah,
culpability.
And I think this is the last one. I'm only saying the writer is wrong because I feel if you're sharing tea like this with someone, you have to know whether or not there's a chance they could be about it, especially if it's your sibling. I'd take a bullet for my sister, but there was a period of time where I couldn't even tell her Christmas gifts for relatives because there was a chance she'd spill it as soon as she saw them next. However, just an extra little fuck cheaters though. I don't feel bad for Bubbles because you shouldn't cheat, obviously. I just think the writer is wrong for trusting their sister with it, knowing she doesn't fuck with Bubbles. Also, if the writer's sister was going to do it, then do it with your whole chest because the writer shouldn't be getting shit on for it at CrossFit gym or whatever they call it. One more. I shouldn't say this is exactamente, but I would keep my black... Guess who this is? Yes, I would say this is exactamente, but I would keep my black ass mouth shut because I don't want to catch slack for any BS. That wasn't my fault, but that was her sister. But what her sister did is crazy, and I support it.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
I was going to say, the person who said the thing about the Christmas gifts, I literally, like, when we were getting our nephew gifts, who's now 5, but was, turning 5 around Christmas time, I told Mons and I was like, okay, but like, don't tell him, like, or like, be like, get like, whatever. Cause like, there's too many months before. And I just remember walking into like the fucking playroom and he was like, hey, we got your Christmas. And I was like, literally stop. He's 4. Like no.
And you know, he can wear him down.
Oh my God. He doesn't even need to try. And I was like, that's just so funny.
Breaking news. Breaking news, and I was so right about this. I'm going to cut it out the episode, but this is something we literally talked about within the last week, and I was right. I was right.
I'm Ann Foster, host of the feminist women's history comedy podcast, Vulgar History, and every week I share the saga of a woman from history whose story you probably didn't already know, and you will never forget after you hear it. Sometimes we re-examine well-known people like Cleopatra or Pocahontas, sharing the truth behind their legends. Sometimes we look at the scandalous women you'll never find in a history textbook. If you can hear my cat purring, she is often on the podcast as well. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
In humanity's search for other worlds, we found something unexpected.
It's a massive collection of tiny pocket realities, and each one is a story.
But when we explored those stories, things didn't go as planned.
Mr. Darcy!
I am Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Ah, humbug.
What happens when classic stories go wrong? I go in to fix them.
I am Dracula, and I bid you welcome.
Subscribe and listen to Muse, the latest audio drama from Dayton Writers Movement and Realm.
My wrong of the week was the core power thief. 93% said I was wrong. 97% said the thief is wrong. 7% said the thief is not wrong. Core power and Tiffany's is wrong. Also, they just gave me Anna Delvey vibes. I know the stories and crimes are very different, but I gotta say someone needs to call Shonda Rhimes about this story. What piqued my interest is when Melissa pointed out that it could be an insider job at both Core Power and Tiffany's. Yeah, I also looked up the location.
I know exactly where it is.
Yeah. Like anybody who, even if you've never been to LA, just think of something that you think of LA on TV. This is like probably the only like 4-block radius. That is what everyone thinks LA looks like. It's only in these 4 blocks it looks like that. So it is very cinematic.
I imagine in that area where that's Rodeo, right? Where you walk up the hill and all the like lights are there, like they're meeting at nighttime under the guise of just like taking a stroll, and they're having just a little conversation.
And also there are so many underground parking garages there for their little spooky meetings and all of that. Yeah, it is. I would be surprised if there's like another retail location that isn't in on it. Like I would think, like, because you can walk to all those places. Someone else said, Tiffany's accepting a photo ID that doesn't match the person in front of them for that much money is insane. For sure, an inside job on both parts and scary. Between the CrossFit cheating debacle and the core power thief, this episode really made me feel better about not going to the gym. Hey, that's what we're here for.
De-influencing.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for this one. I was listening to the podcast whilst at the gym. Not me sprinting to my locker in the middle of a set. That's cardio done for the day too, I guess. Yeah, we gotta be wary. We gotta watch it. And that is it.
I don't think anybody wrote in for mine, but I'll read it.
I don't think so either. Because there's no debating it.
There's no debating. My wrong of the week was Jennifer Lee Wilson. 99% said that Wilson's wrong. 1% said she's not wrong. And I guarantee that was a mistake.
I think that one person said voted wrong.
Yeah. So no one wrote in because what is there to say?
No.
I
will stay updated as much as I can on this core power thief, everybody. So I hope that there will be updates on it.
It's interesting.
It is. Especially go ahead.
What if it's connected to those other thieves?
Oh, with on Easter?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Melissa, you know I'm addicted to those Easter thieves.
Now I'm like, you need to write a story combining the two together.
Well, maybe that's the way that I can get around how everybody else has already fucking optioned that other one.
Yeah, so you just make the fictionalized version where you don't even, it's not an option. It's just inspired by true events. Did you see that Law and Order is doing Luigi already?
Oh, I'm not shocked.
But like, and it's the one with, because it's not SUV, it's the one
it's with the
Fitz.
one with, it's the man.
Yeah. But.
Oh, he's in that now.
What, Fitz?
Fitz, yeah.
We had this conversation.
No, I know. I just forgot that.
Like a week ago.
Yeah.
When we were talking about him.
Melissa, I'm still trying to wrap my head around him being in Tarzan. So like, I have to remember that he does things besides be the best Nepo baby.
The best Nepo baby. Besides Jane Fonda.
I always forget that.
Yeah, because she's like old Hollywood Nepo baby.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Well, I guess he is too.
Yeah, no, but
but she's
the G
older.
is still.
She's also she's a lot older than him.
Yeah, and the G is still alive and well.
Yes.
Yeah, cast me as the lion in the MGM intro. I am a Leo.
Yeah, when your hair is curly too.
I could do it. Yeah, I'm not surprised they're doing it at all.
Yeah.
They
did.
did.
He hasn't even gone to trial yet. They used to do it a lot more. It'd be like ripped from the headlines. Yeah. It was like every other week.
You sent me the Hilaria thing, didn't you?
Yes, when they were on the red carpet getting interviewed, and he cut her off, and she was like,
and she said, quite literally, "Shut the fuck up.
Get the fuck out of my face."
She's like, I'm fucking sick of looking at you and your stupid ass fucking face. He never stops talking. I can't stand you. Shut the fuck up for once in your life. And for the first time in my life, I was like.
And the thing is, bitch, she also talks too much. I just can't. Two yappers can't like have just like be in a very successful, happy relationship.
No, I have to say, though, I do love seeing a man who likes a mean girl in the wild. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah.
I love that she put him in his place, but that does not mean I like her.
No, I also do think it's like funny. The malicious compliance of like, she doesn't really, the prenup is like, once you get as much, like you get more in the prenup depending on how many kids you have. Mm-hmm. And she said, okay, spread them.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, oh my God. Okay. I would have just thought maybe a different lawyer to work on the contract. I don't think we needed to pop out, a baker's dozen.
She's getting herself set up. Some people like to be miserable in marriage, though.
I think they're both probably like that. I think they probably like to hate fuck.
Yep.
And yell at each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one of them would say that it's them and which one would be offended, but one of them definitely thinks they're like Jay and Gloria, and the other one is definitely offended by that. But I just can't figure out which one's which.
Yes.
But neither of them are happy. Like, both of them don't love it.
Right.
So, anyways.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this rousing episode of See You Next Tuesday. Tomorrow, use that as your catch-up day. We've got 4 shows a week. We understand that, like, it can be hard to keep up with the pace, but join us tomorrow. I mean, join us tomorrow, but, like, it won't be fresh. It might be fresh to you, but replay something. Then on Thursday, we'll be here for Don't Blame Me. Friday for Fisting Friday. Monday, But Am I Wrong? And back here on Tuesday, because we will see you next Tuesday.
Goodbye.
This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
From the podcast that brought you to each of the last lesbian bars in the country and back in time through the sapphic history that shaped them, comes a brand new season of cruising beyond the bars. This is your host, Sarah Gabrielli, and I've spent the past year interviewing history-making lesbians and queer folks about all kinds of queer spaces, from bookstores to farms to line dancing and much more.
For 11 years, every night women slept illegally on the common.
We would move down to the West Indies to form a lesbian nation.
Meg Kristen coined the phrase women's music, but she would have liked to say it was lesbian music.
And that's kind of the origins of the Comedy River Collective.
You can listen to Cruising on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes air every other Tuesday starting February 4th.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.
Hey, do you like true crime? Me too. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many true crime pods out there, you've already heard all the stories. Well, what if I were to tell you you're wrong? I'm Leroy Luna, the host of Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the podcast that takes a hardcore look at softcore crime. I've got a back catalog of hundreds of bizarre and hilarious stories just waiting to be heard by you. So come join me. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th every month, baby!